Hello everyone. I am Grum and welcome to another team analysis for your Philadelphia T-Tars. If you like competitive Pokemon or Draft League content, then hit the like button below, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more of it coming to this very channel. This time around, I've got another team in the UNPL, except this time it is for the UNPL D-League. The UNPL D-League is a Pokemon Showdown League with 4 divisions of 12 teams competing against each other over an 8-week regular season, all vying for the playoffs. We found ourselves in the Rika division with some fierce competition and the 6th pick overall. We had the 6th pick overall and 115 points of cap to spend for at least 10 Pokemon. So let's get into it, starting with my first round pick. A must draft at pick 6. Whether Palafin stays in draft leagues going forward or not due to its insane power, I had to select it now to make sure I at least got a taste of the Palafin. Sure, its ability means it's better once it comes out the second time for battle, making it a very predictable lead, but it is worth it for the base 160 attack, increases to its defense and special attack, and plus, with a speed of 100, Palafin can be faster than a good portion of my opponents or take advantage of a Choice Scarf. With setup moves like Agility and Bulk Up to pair with strong moves such as Wave Crash, Close Combat, and Outrage, Palafin can exert immense offensive pressure whenever it is in its hero's form. It has momentum in the form of Flip Term, and its signature move of Jet Punch is a +1 priority 60 base power water move, which gets a stab boost, turning it effectively into a 90 base power move, and a good stable of support moves such as Encore, Taunt, and Haze. I am so excited to use this Pokemon, you guys have no idea. Look at this dude, insane! And look, I was surprised that this Mon was there in the second round, but Annihilape is one of my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon and I am excited to use it. We all know about its Rage Fist move, a ghost type physical attack that increases base power by 50 every time Annihilape takes a hit, a combo that does pair nicely with Palafin's desire to switch out asexually. Optimized base stats of 110 HP, 115 attack, 80 defense, 90 in both special defense and speed, and only 50 in special attack, Annihilape has the ability to take hits and dole out huge damage. On top of that, its Define ability can punish Intimidate users as well as defoggers. Close Combat and Drain Punch are its main fighting type moves, and coverage in the form of Ice Punch, Poison Jab, and Night Slash, as well as utility moves like Stealth Rock, Taunt, Encore, and U-Turn for momentum gives us a very strong pick to pair with Palafin. One of my favorite Mons in the Draft League format due to a moveset of both offensive and utility potential. Scissor was a must-have in the third round for me. Scissor typing gives good synergy with Annihilate, resisting Fairy and Psychic, while being able to threaten back both with Stab, Steel, and Bug moves. Not the bulkiest Pokemon at 70 HP, 100 defense and 80 special defense is nice though, but offensively, with 130 base attack, Technician boosted bullet punches are a scary thing, putting it on the same power tier as Jet Punch. Other moves that get an important Technician boost are Aerial Ace, Bug Bite, Thief, Dual Wing Beat, and Trailblaze, which helps Scissor with its base 65 speed. Sets with Sword Dance setup are a threat, but do not count out a defensive hazard removal with Defog as an option as well, and team support, whether it's Weather setting or Tailwind setting, are on the table as well when it comes to Scizor. I bet you think we're going to name this one Grimmsnarl, don't you? You'll see what the name is, but we got to keep you on your toes, which Grimmsnarl is more than capable of doing. One of the best prankster users out there thanks to its move pool with priority boosted screen support, Bulk Up, Parting Shot, Taunt, Thunder Wave, and more. I just love Grimmsnarl as a support mon, but it does have potential as an attacker thanks to its base 120 attack, which ranks 3rd on the team, and its access to setup moves like Nasty Plot. Its 95 special attack isn't completely unusable. Physical moves like Play Rough, Drain Punch, False Surrender, and special moves like Moonblast, Dark Pulse, and Draining Kiss can give an alternative depending on the matchup. It also does have Stab, Sucker Punch, giving us a 3rd priority Pokemon for attacks. It might not be a priority, but we do get an insane amount of speed with our first Terra Captain, Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel is a flying electric type who can Terra into a full flying Terra type as well as ice and water type. Base 125 speed does make this our fastest Pokemon. It has 3 good abilities, Wind Power being the worst, which gives it a charge boost when taking a wind-based move like Hurricane, Heat Wave, or Icy Wind. It also has Competitive, which gives it a +2 special attack boost whenever it gets a lowered stat, much like Annihilape's Defiant. Arguably, its most usable ability for us is going to be Voltabloor, giving us a good partner to take the electric moves that Palafin dislikes. Our Terra types give Kilowattrel a consistent flying stab move in Terra Flying Blast, Volt Beam coverage with Terra Ice Blast, and a water type that can hit back other waters hard with a stab electric move. It also offers more momentum with both Volt Switch and U-Turn. I'm very excited that we were able to get this Pokemon before some other people wanted it. At this point in the draft, we needed to fill out the rest of the team, and we needed somebody who could give Scizor a hand with the fire types, as Palafin, while a water type, does prefer to be more offensive based. So we went and got one of the only 2 rock fire type Pokemon in the entire National Pokedex, Hisuian Arcanine. Flash Fire gives it the ability to be immune to fire, but outside of that, it can quad resist fire types without it, and it packs more defensive support with its Intimidate ability, Will-O-Wisp, Snarl, and other viable support moves. But this Rock Dog isn't only here for defensive reasons, not when it gets the Rock Head ability that turns its Stab, Flare Blitz, and Head Smashes into major moves with no drawbacks. Add in its base 115 attack behind those massive moves, as well as extreme speed for extreme priority, close combat for coverage, and even wild charge, which takes no recoil damage as well, and Arcanine can fit in either role very well. I like to front load my teams with offense in the early rounds, because good defensive Pokemons can be found later in the draft, and more than halfway through the mandatory selections, I needed to start shoring up my defensive spots. Enter Tentacruel, someone who would greatly appreciate the weakened physical opponents that Arcanine and Grimmsnarl can create. A huge special defense stat of 120. We finally nab a Pokemon that can take hits from water types while also pairing well with Scizor's fire weaknesses and Grimmsnarl's fairy and poison weaknesses. It's not just for taking hits, as it's a grounded poison type with the ability to clear hazards, one of the only 2 in the format, with the other one being Galarian Weezing. While it lost Scald, it does still have Toxic and Toxic Spikes, which can help it spread more statuses. Oh, and it's another momentum Pokemon with Flip Turn. But adding Tentacruel and Arcanine back-to-back puts a lot of weight onto Kilowattrel to be our ground resist, so going into the next pick, I felt I needed another ground check. And right when you probably expected it, I selected Orthworm, who is our second Terra Captain with Terra Steel, Electric, and Fighting. Sure, I have it in the main league, but this goofy guy is too much fun as a wall to me. Okay bulk and a massive 145 defense means we can invest into something other than defense if we need to. The ability to set up both rocks and spikes, as well as set up with either coil or iron defense with its ground immunity, provides us another option to take hits and not just rely on Kilowattrel in important ground type matchups. If one tentacle monster is good, then 2 is even better, and that's why we picked the not a regional but kind of a regional variant of Tentacruel in Toedscruel. Toedscruel has the same stat spread, but being a grass ground type offers pretty good synergy with Tentacruel. Barring a weakness to flying, they cover each other's weaknesses perfectly. In theory, allowing me to guarantee a Tentacruel on Cruel on the team, freeing up Scizor a bit in terms of hazard removal. It also gives us our final member of our Water, Fire, Grass core. By the end of the draft, I was a little too weak to electric types for my liking, a little too weak to grass, as my grass and poison types were hit neutrally by grass types, so I needed a Pokemon who would help me in those areas. Enter Goodra. Thanks to its Sap Sipper ability and its even higher special defense than either Cruel at 150, Goodra offers us a defensive Pokemon who isn't worried about the Fairy type or Ice types that most dragons are, especially thanks to its teammates. Much like how I view Orthworm, Goodra has such high special defense that we can afford to not invest in it in certain weeks and be alright. It also gives us a Dragon type, finishing up our Steel Fairy Dragon core. Comment below with how you think my draft went, and if you'd like to see more draft-related content, like speed drafts potentially on the channel. Overall, I'm excited about this team, and I hope you are too, so if you are, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe for more Season 3 of the UNPL D-League. I think it'll be fun to use broken Pokemon like Palafin and Annihilate almost every week and have something to deal with the threats on a week-to-week basis. This might be my favorite, not just favorite, my best team I've drafted. I think there's plenty of fast momentum, meaning we can hit on our way out into a defensive answer and position ourselves. Plenty of strong priority does help our speed tiers a bit. Our weak point of physical defense is manageable, in my opinion, especially with the amount of immunities, checks, and threats of our own that need to be accounted for. We kick off our season next week against Dolphin Headlock and the mythical Marshadows. We'll preview their team next week before the battle, but until then, I am Grum, and I will see you next time.